We're so used to rules piling up in society, but we're never used to them being taken away. Rules themselves are security. Good rules are a great security, but rules that just pile up every year, do they ever say, you know, this year we're going to reverse, we had 10 rules back in 1976, we're getting rid of them. We put 5 in place in 1985, we're getting rid of those. And we're only making 2 new ones. No, every year nothing ever gets revoked and new regulations occur. And this mask thing is going to be the first time in my lifetime that they take away a rule that they made. And people are nervous about it. I mean, they're like, can we do that? Are we allowed to stop doing something that we were told to do?
Or when Texas and Mississippi both did it, and there's a freak out.
There's a freak out. And it's really not about the masks. It's just people, the security that comes of following orders, and then the order is relaxed or reversed, makes you feel suddenly like you're transgressing, or you're anxious. It was saving me. I know it was stupid. I know it didn't work. And now I realize in retrospect I was only doing it to impress everybody else in the grocery store. But I don't want it to go away because it makes me anxious.
So someone, probably some demented psychologist, came up with an experiment of children playing in a fenced area, and they took the fence away, and the kids were running happily playing in the fenced area. They took the fence away, and all the kids huddled in the center.
Yep.
Right. They didn't want to.
I've never heard of that.
They didn't want to risk going over a boundary, so they clumped together. And you could have a sensible rule, the fence in the right place,
yes,
and the kids play happily. Or you could have a crazy rule, a restrictive rule, where the fence is in too tight, but the kids still would become dependent on those definitions. Please tell me what to think. Please tell me where to go. Please tell me what not to do.
And when the rules are confusing, I used to try to explain to my kids there are principles and there are rules. Principles are very few, but you can consult them in a range of situations and come up with an answer. Mm-hmm. You can come up with a rule for the moment. Rules are just like lists, and they are trivial. They apply to one situation, and making rules for everything is sort of like grasping at straws. They will pile up. They're confusing. You'll have to look every morning to see which the new ones are. You'll worry that you're breaking them, that you've forgotten one. And I feel like that's how we're getting as a society. And with principles, nobody says, it's polite if I go over to an old person's house who has asthma that I wear a mask or that I ask if I should. That's a principle. It's called
charity.
Courtesy.
Yeah.
But a rule is if you go to a person over 75 and they have had a history of that, you must do that.
2 times within the last 3 years.
Yes. And they've made 3 versions of it, and they've all conflicted a little. Sometimes it's been 70, sometimes it's been anybody over 60, sometimes you start becoming sane. And you start to cling like these kids, or like a dog that's used to being hit every time a certain door opens. Right. You start to cling to the most fearful response.